This one is going out to all youth and youth. Reggae music with the truth. Ja Roots Radio. This is Paul Barclay from the Katalys Crew, Agent of Change. Check it.
Inna the system, pressure power. Whoa, boy, pure pressure power. No mistake. God only you see me true. Only Jah, only you.
Ja Roots Radio, 24/7, 365, keeping it reggae all the time. We are in the island of Jamaica. I mean, literally on the ground. Boots on the ground, like they say, soldiering up for Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And I'm here with none other than Paul Katalys of the Katalys Crew.
Yes.
Brethren, it is an honor,
give thanks, man,
a blessing, and a privilege, and I thank you for making the time out of your busy schedule.
Yes.
Man, so many questions off the top of my head I would love to ask. So I will just start off with people who don't know who Katalys Crew is.
Yes.
Because I have a lot of people listening from Russia and Lebanon.
What?
Just the other day, who in Lebanon like reggae, I don't know, but somebody listening, all right?
Definitely.
Japan and so on.
Yes.
So, you know, they may love the music, not necessarily know the history behind the band and so forth. And so, in a shot, you know, just tell us, you know, who is Katalys Crew? You know, give us a history.
Let me start with where it started. In high school, I loved chemistry and biology, and so I was exposed to the name CATALYST, which is a catalyst. A catalyst is an agent that causes change without itself changing. So as a Christian back in school, you know, when I heard the name, I said, but this is what we ought to be in the world. You know, we need to be salt and light. You know, salt goes into an era where there's freshness and it changes the situation, but the nature of salt remains the same. Light goes where darkness is, dispels darkness, but remains light. As children of the Most High, we are in the world to do our work for the Most High. You know, and we are supposed to do that work wherever we go without the nature of who we are changing. So you'll find now that as I go along, we will speak about what they claim as the more radical side of Katalys. But it is really what a catalyst ought to be. So everybody is in church and everybody is nice and everybody feels good. But what we want to do, we want to do some work in the church because that's where we are birthed. But we want to also go into all the world and proclaim the good news. When we are there on Sumfest, when we are there on Irie Jam or wherever the reggae festival is in the world, because that's where we want to go. That's the direction of our music. We want to go there with the message, with the good news, but remain true to who we are. So in school, that's where Katalys came from. In 2004, having been the band leader for Papa San when he got saved, toured with him, toured with Carleen Davis and Junior Tucker and a number of those guys as band leader. The first song I did was No Power on Earth with George Nooks. And you know, that was the very first song I put out. That song went #1 in Jamaica and around the world. And from there, you know, I started to get more deeper in the music business. I produced an album. The first album I produced was for Judy Mowat. Seven tracks on her first gospel album. So it started there. And fast forward now, having done all of that, I think it was time now for me to start my own band. And what better name than the name Katalys. So I don't know if you have gotten a chance to see Emancipation Pocket. It is one of the places where when you come to Kingston, you stop. We launched our album in Emancipation Park. And we were the only band on stage. And at that date, we were the only persons to put 7,000 persons in that venue. And we were the only band on stage. So that's where we launched in 2004. The band at the time was we started out at about 9 persons. And it dwindled down to about 7 with background vocals and all of that. And, you know, the true nature of bands, you know, if there's one thing that will not phase Katalys, is change. Because that's our nature. And just like most bands, you go through a period of change. And so the lead singer would have left. And after he left, a number of persons would have left. So it left 4 of us. After the lead singer left, that, you know, 4 of us remained and did an album called For a Reason. I will, you know, get you some of those tracks. Songs with Sharon Gardner and stuff. So after that. But it was still difficult because 2 of us did it did full-time music. The other 2 persons had a job. So it got too difficult.
Yeah.
So what I asked them to do is to just relax the whole thing, and I continued with Katalys Crew Productions.
Yeah. Okay.
And whereas persons were saying, the group is dead, I didn't react. I didn't say anything. But what I did know was to continue to produce under the banner of Katalys Crew Productions.
Yeah.
In our local festival competition, for example, Gospel Festival, in 6 years, I produced 5 songs in succession that one. Under the name Katalys Crew Productions. And so I continue to maintain the name Katalys Crew by doing that until 3 years ago, as a board member of JAREA, which is the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association. Okay. I'm a board member of that. They, not the gospel community, the reggae industry afforded me the opportunity to relaunch. Because I tried, but because of our quote-unquote radical nature, it has really been difficult, even for persons to understand the mission that we are on, that we are not going to be doing only songs that the traditional church is comfortable with. We have to be true to what God has called us to be. So we're going to do some songs that they see as pushing the envelope. But for us, it's natural. When Christ was on earth, one of the places they saw him and frowned at him was at Matthew's feast. They could only frown at Christ in Matthew's feast because when they looked in the feast, he blended in so well that he and them look alike. Yeah. And he said to them, I did not come to call the righteous. I've come to call sinners to repentance. And so the status, the church status quo at the time, we're at odds with him for doing that. And I believe that we are experiencing the same thing. So if we're going to be found guilty like Christ, I am glad for that.
Amen.
So that is our journey. We want to be able to sustain our livelihood by this music. Like the Levites in Chronicles, they lived by what they do. Right. But at this stage, if it doesn't even break even, it doesn't matter to us. What we want to do is to be available. Yeah. So what we want to do is to just move to some areas that we would not get that invitation on the basis of the music that we are doing now. Right. So we would come for free just to present what we are doing. Okay. And to allow the audience to see what we are about. I believe God will do the rest.
So you're stepping out in faith?
I'm stepping out in faith. So like Abraham, yes, and if you're listening this tape, man, give us a call. Right. Book Katalys. We are on our way once you are able.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Okay. I know a few bands are doing that.
Yes.
Pretty tough journey.
Of course.
But God is faithful.
Yes.
To what I'm saying we'll do.
Yes.
Now,
really and truly, when I think seriously about it, Katalys and the whole movement, if you were to ask me what we're about and what we offer, it is far less about music and far more providing hope, singing and writing about experiencing life, that persons can listen to the lyrics and from that find a way forward from our own experience. So for a long time now, I want to, and I'm trying very hard to write some songs that are just up-tempo and just up there and it's about happiness, and but that will come. Almost all of the tunes them is just about the experiences, because the guys around me too, they have similar experiences. One of our musicians says, from his little he's playing music and he has never been recognized for what he's doing, and he's playing for over 10 years. And within a couple of months, working with Katalys Crew, everywhere he goes, persons would call to him. And for me, as simple as that is, just for the few months, I know what it is for musicians, to want recognition. Many times in my young career, you go to places, you go to hotels, to entertain people, and they send the food backstage, and they send the food around there, so and you have to sit down on a little corner when they come there to see you perform. So when I hear him say, he has never been recognized or gotten a certain level of recognition, and without anything at all, just being associated with the crew, he feels very positive about his contribution as a musician. I believe that, that is doing good. I have a philosophy that says you can move from minus 100 to 0. That's 100 positive steps. We don't even reach plus 1 yet, But look at the amount of steps that you can go without doing good, without necessarily the traditional way that the church forces you or wants to validate that you do good. In other words, what we are saying, we love Jesus Christ, Yeshua Mashiach, whatever the name you call him, meaning in the original language, we know what Christ means to us. But there's a notion in Christendom that unless you are singing and doing the work up front, that is about Jesus Christ, you're not doing anything. And as a person who has walked into Rima, Trench Town, back in the day when I was doing that kind of work, I played at a church, for example, for about 13 years, non-stop, every Sunday morning. And there came a time when a friend of mine and I started to walk in Rosetown. Now, when you will hear about Rosetown and Greenwich Farm and those places in the news, because when you're talking about inner city violence, that is where. And I would even call some of the guys' name that I would find on a Sunday morning. That's the only time you find to reason with them. And we would start to reason with these guys in the community. But the church was upset because my place on a Sunday morning was in the church. Having done that for 12 years, I found that I was now linking with some guys. One of them is a notorious guy who, his name is in the media even these days. Back then, we met with him. When we gave him a Bible, tears came to his eyes because him said, "Yo, Paul, and my brethren Mark, the youth in the community deal with me like this, meaning the statue that he has is more than and fear." But we gave him a Bible and tears came to his eyes that we gave him for his birthday, because we saw him as an individual, as a human being, and we were doing that kind of work. So I'm making that point that the kind of journey that Katalys is on will not be the typical journey, although it includes that. So sometimes you will move, man. When we were walking the community at the time, we would find that you have guys who used to shoot, gun, rape and all of that. And over a period of time, we talk to these guys until they start to become more conscious. And I remember one of them in particular, when we would go and talk to them before they know that we are musicians. So after about 3 or 4 weeks, we would now go in with a flatbed, set up music, and they would get excited, say, "Really?" They would say, "Ratted. I'm a musician." But me never know. And some of those guys now, they would go to the community and say, "Oh, yo, I want to tell you something, I want to come out, come listen to them, man, because of the first youth that I see coming at the place. And them not ask for nothing, and them not come beg with nothing, but them come give with some entertainment." The point I'm making, we now, through a process over a period of time, we would have moved a man from minus 100 to 0. Because he now maybe has altered his behavior. He's not a Christian yet, but he started to display some positive attributes. And I believe that that is part of the work that we have as children of God. Because no man comes to God unless he draws them. Our duty is to till the soil. So part of the journey of Katalys is to go out there and prepare the soil. So when the pastor comes or when a traditional gospel artist comes, they would have been a little more receptive. Why? Sometimes they shun. One of them in the same Rosetown community said to me, when we went out, the only time we see the church is when them want something. And when they told me that, the great Carl Stone, you may not know his name, he was a renowned pollster. And he asked the church to go in the community to get some information. And the community people said to me, the only time I see I want to want something. And in this case, it was information. What we are saying is that we are interfacing with these guys on a daily basis. We know currently we have a brand called Shubout, Community Shubout. In the dancehall vernacular, Shubout means you're uplifting, you move out, you're stepping out. And St. Matthew is one of the guys who we look forward to his contribution, because when we shub out, we're going to some serious inner city communities. And it's not the typical traditional form of expression. It is really talking to the guys in the language that you know.
Yeah.
As St. Matthew would talk, and you know, it's very, very positive.
Tear down, sit down. Good Lord. Kingdom of broken marriages, tear it down. Kingdom of, lift your hands up. Tear it down.